Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Jonathan Adele. I'm one of the assistant principals here at Chattahoochee High School. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we're excited in August to welcome your students as brand new ninth graders here at Hooch. We're going to go through some information this evening that will hopefully ease your minds a little bit as you transition into the world of high school. If you do have questions, please feel free to type them into the event Q&A box and we will answer them for you as best as we can. If you do have questions after the event, please feel free to reach out to myself or any of the other assistant principals at Chattahoochee and we will get your questions answered for you. Okay, so again, welcome to our school. We're really excited to have you here with us next year. We have our fingers crossed that we're going to start the year in a much more normal fashion than we did in this school year and that your students will get to hit the ground running right from the get-go. So we want to introduce you first to our administrative team. Dr. Mike Todd is the principal of the school. He's in his second year as principal of Chattahoochee, and he was previously one of the assistant principals here at the school. So he knows our school, knows our community well, and loves every piece of it. There are 4 other assistant principals in the building. The way that we break down is that we handle all students in grades 9 through 12 with last names that fall in our alphabet range. So myself, I have last names A through E. Mr. Barry has last names F through L. Our brand new assistant principal, who just started 2 weeks ago, is Dr. Ingrid Parham, and she has last names M through R. And Miss Gwen Harris has last names S through Z.
Okay, so I wanted to introduce you to the counselors. Again, this is Mrs. Chilson, and I am one of the counselors. This is my 5th year, and my 5th year at Chattahoochee, my 14th year as a high school counselor. And we too break everybody down by last name. So if your last name is A through DAQ, then you're with me. And if it is DAR through HEL, you are with Mrs. Johnson. HEM through MAR is Mrs. Vermurray. MAS through SAH is Miss Blunt. And then SAI through Z is Miss Jones. And one of the reasons we do this is definitely to balance out our caseloads, but also we keep you for all 4 years. So we have you the entire time that you will be a student here. So that just makes the continuity very, very good throughout high school. And hopefully you get to know us. And then certainly if they're siblings, we get to know the whole family. And it's an excellent way to kind of handle the counseling caseload. So a general overview of how Chattahoochee works and how high school works at Chattahoochee is that there's 7 periods a day, approximately about 50 minutes for each class. One of the 7 periods is a lunch period. So we do lunch either 3rd period, 4th period, or 5th period. You only get 1 lunch period. And 3rd period is sometimes known as the brunch period because it starts a little bit early. But you know, lunch for us is about 50 minutes too. So that's much longer than what I think middle school is used to, and gives students definitely a break. We do allow students to go eat in the cafeteria. If it's an okay day outside, students can eat outside. We allow students to go into the media center during lunch. They can't eat in there, but they can you know, go in there and work on something, because 50 minutes for a lunch period can seem a little long if you don't have a buddy to chat with or somebody is out for the day or whatever. We have something called chat time that is at the end of 2nd period. Chat time serves as a little bit of a study break. Sometimes students need to get help with a teacher. We also, that is where, I don't like to call it a homeroom, but it is sort of like a homeroom. It's just the end of your 2nd period is a little bit longer. It's usually like 20-something minutes. And chat time just allows students to meet with a teacher if they need extra assistance, if they needed to make up a test, if they needed just to get something accomplished during that little bit of time. We also do our success skills during that time. We did signs of suicide lesson during some of that time. So we use that time just to incorporate some additional things that we have to get done at the high school. Progress reports are published every 6 weeks. Those are available on Infinite Campus for viewing. If you don't have Infinite Campus, the parent portal access, you definitely want to get it. And then final grades are posted at the end of each semester. This is what a typical bell schedule looks like. The bell schedule has shifted a little bit from this one due to COVID and the pandemic, and we have remote learners and we have people here face to face, and we've had to adjust for, you know, the bus getting picked up, car riders getting picked up in the afternoon, that kind of thing for social distancing. So this is pretty much what it will look like. But as you can see, first period starts at 8:20. The first bell actually rings at 8:15, and that is kind of the signal that students need to get to their class. And at 8:20, we get rolling. The last bell is at 3:30, and that's when students are free to go home and, you know, go about their day. As you can see, though, right here, second period is 9:18 to 10:11, and then we have a little bit of chat time. And so chat time is just built into the schedule. The grading scale is the same as it is pretty much anywhere in Fulton. An A is a 90 to 100, a B is an 80 to 89, a C is a 70 to 79, an F is a 69 or below. We do not have Ds, so a lot of school systems have a D as part of their grading scale. We do not. We do have in Fulton County, which is different than other counties, we add 7 additional points to the grade. If the student has an honors class, an AP class, or a college class in their schedule, those 7 points get added on at each semester, only after the passing grade happens. So if a student finishes with a 70 in the class, they pass it, they get that 70, then they actually get a 77 on their transcript. Similarly, if a student gets a 90 on their final grade in a class, and it's an honors or AP or a college class, then we get to add 7 points onto that on the transcript. So it would show up as a 97. So the biggest difference, or one of the big differences, I mean, because there are a lot, between middle school and high school is that the grading is done a little bit differently. So semester 1 averages and semester 2 averages really don't fall out that way in middle school. It is a final grade for the whole year, and the grades are averaged together. So if a student had first semester 60 and then the next semester they rocked it and they got that 80, then the final grade for that student's class is a 70. However, for high school, it does not work that way. Each semester is really independent of themselves, and they're not averaged together. So if a student got that 60 first semester in math, and then semester 2 they got an 80, they owe me another half credit of the math because they did not pass first semester. So it is very, very important that students realize that when you go into high school, every semester matters, every class matters, grades matter, credits matter, definitely to stay on track for graduation. And who wants to go to summer school, really? But we do have a lot of students that sometimes have to go. Okay, so credits. You do have to have 23 credits to graduate. They're very specific credits as to what you have to accomplish. For English, there's 4 specific credits that are required. For math, it's the same 4, and I need 4 science. There's only 3 social studies that are required. I need 3 credits of a career tech elective or a world language or a fine art. I do want to be clear about this. It is a mix and match category. You can have an art and a language and a career tech class all during high school, experience it all, and meet that requirement. When it comes to college admissions, 2 to 3 years of a world language may be required. A bare minimum for a 4-year university, pretty much anywhere, bare minimum would be 2 consecutive years of the same language, like a Spanish 1 and a Spanish 2, or a French 1 and a French 2, or whatever. But for graduation purposes, you do not have to have that language to graduate. You can graduate from high school and not do a language. You can go to technical colleges. Most 2-year colleges don't require it right off the bat. So it's just one of those things that's kind of a choice, things that you need to start, discovering and looking into what would be best for your student. But I do like that students can kind of try out like a band class 1 year, or beginning guitar, and then the next year, if they really want to delve into coding, they could do digital technology, or marketing principles if they're into business. So they do have the flexibility to choose their electives each year. The other credit that's required is a health and a personal fitness. Health is a half credit, personal fitness is a half credit. Now, if a student is an athlete and plays a JV or varsity sport for a season and completes the season, or they are in the marching band for a season, they can waive out a personal fitness. When a student does the waiver, it does not give them the credit. So I still need something to go in their schedule to get to that 23 credits. And then additional electives can be 4 credits. Those any classes they just want to take. I've got some students that, junior year, they really want to take AP Psychology. AP Psychology is a social studies class. It's a great class, but it does not count towards the 3 social studies that are required. So that would fall under elective. Or if we have students that double up in an area, those extra double ups go under the electives. So just know that that's kind of how credits work. The school counselors do an excellent job of kind of managing the pacing of things and keeping up with kind of making sure students are on the right track for graduation. So, but it is important for all students and parents to know kind of where their students at. Okay, so for most courses, there are different placement options. There's an on-level, an honors, or an advanced placement. I like to call the on-level option college prep. All of our classes are college prep ready. All of our classes are geared towards, making sure students are on the right track for their plans after high school. Your child's or your student's 8th grade teacher does the recommendations for what they should take in 9th grade year. If there's any questions about the placements that are occurring, you need to talk to the current teacher. Any kind of concerns or anything that might come up, any questions you have about the scheduling or the placement of things, really needs to go to either the teacher that you currently have or Miss Sabula, who is the 8th grade counselor. So that's kind of where that starts. I do like to say that, for 9th grade year, it's a big transition year. It's a lot of balancing of things, balancing of time, responsibilities, the work ethic, the organization that needs to come. So, keep in mind that there may be some adjustments that need to happen, and don't go maybe all in for 9th grade year. Kind of make sure that you have a balanced approach. So a typical 9th grade schedule, I just said that about balance, and I'm going to put this that students do not have to take all on level or all honors or AP. It's not a one or other. When you get to high school, you really do have some choices, and you don't have to do it all. And I really want to stress that, because it is important and it's imperative that students have balance in their lives. And they, especially with COVID and the pandemic, there is a lot of mental health problems and issues, and just trying to maintain some happiness every day. So if you overdo it, it can lead to issues. And so I think it's important to know your child. Now, some students totally, if they are ready for, doing it all, then, it can be done. It's not necessarily recommended. I kind of like a mix and match approach. I like for students to take or challenge themselves in an area that they really love. So if a student really loves science, and they get that recommendation for honors biology, then that's fantastic. But it's not it's not a must do. So if your teacher recommended you for all honors or all or the AP choices that you're allowed, and you think it might be too much, go ahead and say that now. Go ahead and make some changes, and talk to Ms. Sabula or talk to your teacher, and we can look at getting those things changed. We also have the ability in Fulton County to change things the first 10 days of school, but only if there is room in another class. So if there's not room for anywhere to go and this is what you selected, then we're kind of stuck with it. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, how can I get involved? I think this was going to be Mr. Adele speaking.
Sure. Happy to jump back over. Ms. Chilson, thank you so much for going through that information with us. We put this one in just to talk about how to get involved. I can share with you, I come to Chattahoochee from being an assistant principal at a middle school in Fulton County, and this was probably one of the biggest pushes that we made to our 8th graders as they journeyed up to high school, is to find something to get involved with, whether it be a club, a fine arts organization, a sports team, something to give you some connection to the school other than your academic classes. I would often hear kids say, for this next year, I'm just going to focus on my academics. And that's a really noble pursuit, but it's also really easy to get lost inside of the school if you don't have something to connect you other than those 6 classes that you need to go to. So this is just some logos from some of a very small sampling of the clubs and activities that we have here at Chattahoochee. So the biggest push is to please encourage your kids to get involved in something at the school. Okay, so some kind of common myths and common truths. I know that there's probably a lot of discussion about what it takes to be successful, what it takes to get into the top colleges, top universities across Georgia and across the US. So just some common things that we want to kind of dispel for you as you think about the course that you're going to take over the next 4 years. One myth is that you have to take an AP course to get into college. That is not true. Advanced placement courses are phenomenal. They do push students to a different level of challenge and different level of thinking. If you score high enough on them on the AP exam, there are colleges that will award credit based off of those AP classes. But taking AP classes, while it can help, it is not a requirement to get into college. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of students feel a lot of pressure to take a really heavy load of AP classes, and that is not the one thing that's going to get them into college. It's not a make or break. Another myth is that students can't get the Hope Scholarship if they get a C in a class. Hope is, of course, based off of a student's overall GPA, which is a cumulative point average of their performance in high school. So getting a single C in a class, especially since, like we talked about before, that classes in high school are awarded half credits by semesters, getting a C on half of a high school credit is not going to doom you from earning the Hope Scholarship. So please keep that in mind. Of course, we want to encourage great performance, but one C, one slip in a class that's hard or a semester with a lot of struggles is not going to sink the ship of earning the Hope Scholarship. If a student takes a class much earlier than their peers, it's better for college entrance. So that kind of goes not side by side with AP, but along some of the same lines. If students work through continuous achievement in elementary school or middle school, and they get ahead a little bit, they might be taking 9th grade literature while they're in 8th grade. That doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily stand an automatic better shot for college entrance than their peers. Okay, so keep in mind that colleges, especially in Georgia, that are part of University System of Georgia, are all based off to receive students coming out of Georgia high schools. So the base requirements for your high school diploma is what sets most of the entrance criteria for colleges, at least in the state of Georgia. Another kind of common myth is that AP and honors classes are needed for rigor. So some people come in with the idea that if you're in an on-level class, that you're not going to be challenged. I can assure you that at Chattahoochee, if you're taking a class at our school, you're going to be pushed to your maximum level of achievement by our teachers. Nobody's sitting back and letting kids sit by the wayside. So AP and honors are excellent classes. They are the perfect fit for some students, and they are not the perfect fit for all students. So please keep in mind, that the best thing that you can do is focus on your individual performance, your students' progress, their learning in classes, and a little bit less on whether it has an AP or an honors tag right next to it.
Yeah, and I'll add in, when we talk about rigor, and that word gets thrown around a lot, but when it comes to rigor, there's rigor for college admissions, and then there's rigor for Hope Scholarship. So Hope Scholarship does require a certain amount of rigor, but honors and AP classes are not included in Hope rigor. So a student can take like on-level Algebra 2 and on-level senior level math, whatever math they choose to do, and those count as rigor for Hope Scholarship. Same with a Spanish 2 or a Spanish 3, and on-level chemistry counts as rigor. Every student pretty much at Chattahoochee takes the physics, that counts as rigor. So rigor for Hope Scholarship is very different than rigor for college admissions. So every college kind of has their own pacing and what they're kind of looking for. Going back to that, you have to take an AP course to get into college. There's plenty of colleges that take students that have never had an AP class. A lot of schools in Georgia don't require AP courses to get into college. They're more looking at grades and participation in extracurriculars, or that kind of thing, more of a holistic approach when it comes to just looking at the transcript and their performance in high school. So it doesn't always come down to rigor that is gonna sell yourself down the road. Okay, moving on.
Okay, so some advice for parents. Again, my advice and plea to you, coming from my experiences in middle school to coming into a high school, is to keep up with your child. That really is the mean, that you're not giving them independence, not giving them freedom, but I promise that them knowing that you're there, keeping up with what they're doing, helping them to see, the ways that they need to set priorities, need to set goals, is the thing that's going to help them to be the most successful. So first, keep up with your child's attendance and grades through Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus can become your best friend. You see immediately if a student has missed a class for attendance. As soon as teachers publish grades, you can see those posted in there. So using that tool, that one thing that you have access to, is the great jumping off point. Look around, look at teacher websites. We were very website dependent heading into this year, and now everything has moved over to Teams. And while hopefully, when we're all back in face-to-face school full time, we won't be as reliant on Teams. I don't think that it's a tool that's going to fall away anytime soon. So kind of get used to, what your students' team sites look like for their classes. If the teacher does publish a website where they keep information on there, make a habit of checking with that. Make sure that, if your student is enrolled in some of the honors or AP classes that have summer assignments, make sure that they're tackling those assignments and that they're ready to start the school year with them. It's hard to catch up a lot of times. We all know that. It's a race, and if you start running from behind, it's very, very, very hard to catch up. So encourage them to have a life and a school balance. School is important, yes, school is not the most important. Having health, having happiness, having family, having friends, all essential elements of a successful life. So, keep those conversations open with the kids. Know what they like, know what they are into, what they're involved with, who their friends are. That's a super important one. Know who they're talking to in school and out of school. Keep those lines of communication open. And then please know that we want the same things that you want. Our number one goal is student success at Chattahoochee. So every single day we come in trying to do our best to prepare your students not only for the 4 years that they're with us, but for anything and everything that comes after graduation. Okay, so we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the elective areas across the school. So right now, ending tomorrow, your child's teachers at Taylor Road have been working on their course recommendations for next school year. That involves their English, their math, their science, their social studies, and either their world language or their reading teacher. So they've been working on those course recommendations based off of what they're taking this year and the county guidelines, their grades, all of those factors. And then starting on Monday, your student will have the ability to go into their Infinite Campus portal and make some selections for their elective classes here next year at Hooch. So we encourage the kids to take that opportunity. If somebody doesn't do it, they will still have electives. Our counselors will be working with them to help fill those holes in their schedule. But I think it's a great opportunity for the kids to have some say in what they're doing. So in one of the areas of Chattahoochee that falls a lot into the electives category is the fine arts department. So we do have a full-time band program that offers a variety of different classes, from wind classes to percussion. We have chorus, a number of different choral groups that students can qualify for and enter into. Same thing with orchestra, several different levels of orchestra that the students can play in. And all three of those are activities along with musical theater that they can take part in for all 4 years that they're in school. It's not just a class that they take during the day. It often becomes the place that they make their friends and they hang out with, participate in after school. So those are three fantastic areas. We also will offer piano and guitar classes that the students can take as electives. And those have turned out to be really, really popular. It gives students who might not have come from a musical experience in middle school, gives them an opportunity to get involved in learning how to make music and kind of explore some different areas. We also have a number of visual arts classes here at the school. So one thing that I want to stress is that Intro to Art is the entry-level class to all art classes at Chattahoochee. So if your student, I know that Taylor Road does offer Intro to Art in the 8th grade year. If your student has already taken that and they want to continue progressing in art classes, they can start into ceramics or jewelry, drawing and painting, photography. Then as they get into their later years, they can access classes like Advanced Placement 2D, 3D art, and AP drawing.
And I'm going to pause for a second, Mr. Adele, because we're getting a lot of questions about the start time. And I just want to address that. We had planned to start at 6 p.m. That was our plan. I did not know, and Mr. Adele didn't know, that Taylor Road published the start time for 6:30. So we apologize for that. However, we're going to go through this information. I am happy to stay and go over the first slides again. It's all being recorded. Everything is being recorded from the start, and please do not panic because you feel like you've missed something from the beginning. Nothing is being missed. Everything's been recorded, but I'm happy to go back over everything. And this is Elizabeth Chilson. I'm one of the counselors in the counseling office. And I'm certainly happy to stay late and go over everything. So please do not, don't panic. It's just information night, and we've got a lot of time together to go over things, okay? Okay, so we're going to continue on with the PowerPoint that we've got. We're on the Career Technical and Agricultural Education Program. That's all of our CTAE electives that we offer. And Mr. Adele, you can take it from here, but just know that at the end, if anybody has questions, I'll stay on. I'll make sure questions get answered. And I'm happy to go through the beginning slides again, but do know that this whole PowerPoint has been recorded from the beginning, and we had planned to post it tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms. Chilson. We apologize for that, for any miscommunications that went out. So again, being recorded, I also spoke with Ms. Haltrecht over at Taylor Road, and I will send out to her a full copy of this PowerPoint as well. So we will try and make sure that you get everything that you need. Again, don't want you to feel panicked at all by that. So hopefully if you joined right around 6:30, you heard me talk about elective selection that students will start on Monday. So again, they're going to have from February 8th until February 18th in order to log on to Infinite Campus and select their elective choices for next year. We do encourage them to make a couple of selections for electives. I would put primarily the ones that they really want to take, what they want to focus on, and then a few backups. Because while we do have a lot of elective area teachers, it's not always possible to get everything that they're looking for. Okay, so please, encourage them around and think about where they want to go with that. So we spoke just about fine arts a minute ago, and now we're going to talk about career technical and agricultural education, otherwise known as CTAE, that you hear a lot. A lot of times we talk about, I'm sorry, I saw a message that I dropped off there, so I will back up just a second in case anybody didn't catch what I was saying. We're going to talk about some of the offerings in the career technical and agricultural education area, otherwise known as CTAE. Focus on academic, technical, and employability skills and provide real-world learning opportunities. Most of the classes offered in the CTAE area are considered pathway completer courses. Okay, so if a student chooses to go into the allied health and medicine pathway, animation and digital media pathway, the automotive maintenance and light repair, computer science, engineering and technology, fashion merchandising, game design, graphic design, marketing and management, or sports medicine pathways, there are a progression of courses that they should take throughout their years in order to complete that pathway. The CTAE programs is 93% at Chattahoochee, and over 75% of secondary career tech concentrators pursued a post-secondary education right after high school. So a number of these pathways, you can probably look at them and you think automatically of a path on to college, whether it's talking about computer science or engineering and technology. You might look at others and see other paths that students can follow. No matter what they are, the career tech area classes are a fantastic place for kids to engage in the school. And again, just like in the fine arts department, it's not just a class that you go to, it becomes a place that you belong inside the school. Okay, the physical education department, like Ms. Chilson spoke about earlier, and I know that a lot of you may have not been on for that part of it, but personal fitness and health are two classes offered through the physical education department that are required for graduation. They're a one semester class each worth half of a credit. in order for, let me back up. A lot of students will seek to exempt the personal fitness to earn a waiver for that class. And they can do that by participation and completion of a season of a JV or varsity sport or marching band. However, even if they earn that waiver for personal fitness, they don't earn the half credit, they don't earn the grade, things that can add in towards their GPA. So we would encourage kids, if they're interested in it, if they don't think that they would be able to meet it through a sport or through marching band, to make sure that they take personal fitness. Health is a requirement. I believe that health is required in order for students to be able to earn their driving permit. I think they have an embedded part of that course that they have to complete as a requirement for that, so that's really important. We do have weight training as elective classes. These are especially popular for students participating on an athletic team at Hooch. So if you're playing something in Junior Cougars right now and you think that you'll be actively involved trying to be part of a JV or a varsity team next year, you might consider, or your coach might encourage you to take a weight training class next year. Rec games is also a really popular PE class, and we did not have it this year because of COVID, but general physical education will probably be returning as well, at least at some point in your high school career. So as you get into your 11th and 12th grade years and you start to have some open spaces in your schedule and you need things to do, you might want to consider taking into some physical education classes. Okay, and as Ms. Chilson referenced before, world language is a really important component of your path onto graduation. So at Hooch, we do offer 3 different world languages inside of the school. There's French, Latin, and Spanish. All of them will work through a 1 through 4 progression in the classes. If you have taken Spanish at Taylor Road, whether you took the 2-year course and completing Spanish 1 or you're completing Spanish 2, you would continue on in that class. I know some kids are involved in FVS classes, potentially in Latin or French. You would have the potential, if you've completed the first part, to start on the second level of that. Otherwise, as a freshman, it might be a really great choice to pick one of these 3 foreign languages and get your start in it. As Ms. Chilson said, most colleges issuing bachelor's degrees will require typically 2 years of a world language class to be completed in order to gain admission, and there are some that will require 3 years.
Yeah, and also if you are a student that has taken, this is Mrs. Chilson again, if you are a student that has taken a language in middle school and earned the high school credit, that can count as your first year, and then you would roll into the second year at the high school. So if you did Spanish 1 over at Taylor Road, then you would roll into Spanish 2 here unless you decline the credit. So Ms. Sabula, I think, sends stuff out at the end of the year about if anybody wanted to decline credit.
All right. So again, just in case we've had any other additions, this is Mr. Adele. I'm one of the assistant principals here at Chattahoochee. So world language students are eligible to apply and earn an International Diploma Skills Seal. Students need to acquire the interdisciplinary skills that they need to be globally competent and competitive. The International Skills Diploma Seal is awarded to graduating high school students who complete an international education curriculum and engage in extracurricular activities and experiences that foster the achievement of global competencies. That seal is a signal to employers and higher education institutions that a student is prepared to participate in the global economy. So if you think that you are really interested in world languages and perhaps plan to pursue all 4 years and complete out what's offered, at least in building, on a world language, you would definitely want to engage with your teachers about how to earn that international diploma skills seal. You can also earn in Georgia the biliteracy seal. So all Georgia public school students are eligible to attain this seal of biliteracy based on the evidence of achieving the required level of language proficiency in English plus one or more other languages during their high school years. In order to earn this, you have to demonstrate a level of proficiency in English as well as an additional language, be that a native language, a heritage language, or a language learned in school or another setting. Some components of this may be completed prior to high school for some students. The focus is on achieving the level of proficiency required for English and the level of proficiency required for one or more other languages. I think that's a fantastic option to pursue for students. We do live in a really multicultural city, and a lot of our students do come in already as bilingual. So something that as you get involved in the world language courses here at Hooch, that you should think about pursuing and showing, your skill and your level of access to language and be able to earn that biliteracy seal.
Sorry, I cut you off there. Doing presentations online is certainly an adventure. Okay, and so our next presenter is Miss Amanda Weil. She is our tag coordinator and chairperson, and I'm gonna send her live. Did you want to be live, or you just want to do the slides?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Hi, I am Amanda Weil. As she said, I'm the tag department chair. So if your child is in talented and gifted, they will stay in talented and gifted once they get to high school. If they currently are not, we do test every fall and spring. And so your child may be invited to testing soon. We have 8 teachers in our tag department, but there are 27 teachers at Chattahoochee that are tag certified, which means it's on their teaching certificate and they can teach tag classes. But myself and Mr. Cinco are the main 2 coordinators of the tag department, and we teach most of the tag classes that include a tag internship, a directed studies. We have seminars. We also have tag testing and tag field trips. Not this year, but hopefully next year we'll have tag field trips again. So if you ever have questions, you can always email me or come by my classroom. Currently, we have 870 tag students, which is 47% of Chattahoochee's population. So we have a high number of students that are gifted. So everyone needs to get a tag credit when you are in high school, but it's very easy to get these tag credits. If you're in AP Government or AP Human as a freshman, that is considered a tag credit. Or if you're in an honors class that's taught by one of those 27 teachers. So that pretty much covers a lot of people at our school. We also have 9th grade tag field trips, hopefully next year. In the past, we've had plans to go to the Alliance Theater, the Carter Presidential Library, the Museum for Human and Civil Rights, and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So hopefully in 21-22 we can do this again. You could do an independent project or enrichment activity that could get this tag credit.
Oh, sorry, my mouse went crazy. Okay, there you go.
In 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, there are still AP classes. You could do internships, seminars, directed studies, and independent projects. And again, if you're not in tag, we do test in the fall and the spring, and you can be tested every 2 years to partake in these opportunities. Thank you.
I know, and so I so appreciate your information, Ms. Weil. I do also want to add on, because often it's confusing coming from elementary or middle, let me go back, hold on, because it's we're going to go back through some of this stuff because I want to make sure y'all understand everything. But basically with TAG, yes, it is a wonderful program. We do serve a large number of students, but even if a student is not in TAG, they are eligible to take honors classes and AP classes. If you meet the requirements to get into those classes, the placement guidelines set by the county, then we do allow students to take those classes. So don't feel like just because if you're not in TAG, you can't take those, because you can. So just know that we will work through that as we go through scheduling processes each year. I know that many people joined late. It was definitely a communication issue, I think, between Taylor Road and us. So we apologize, but I do want to go back over just some of the key points. It didn't take us that long to go through some of this information to begin with, so I'm happy to do that. There is a Q&A chat box. You're welcome to throw your questions in there. We'll answer them as we can. I'll do my best on this second time around to make sure that we answer any questions that pop up in the chat. It is funny. I was wondering why there were so few people logged on when we started at 6 o'clock. So that definitely explains that. But we're glad you're here. We're glad to answer questions and make sure we get all your questions answered. It's already difficult to do parent nights virtually, so we'll go back through it again. I don't know. So we have an administrative team. They are divided up by the first letter of the student's last name, and Mr. Adele is on the line. He is one of the assistant principals.
Hey everybody. So again, apologies about the miscommunications, but we're here for you. We got you on this. So administrative team here at Hooch is led by 5 people. Dr. Mike Todd is the principal of the school. He's in his 2nd year as principal of Hooch, but he moved right up from the assistant principal's office. So I think he's been with the school for about 5 or 6 years now, knows the place, knows the community, and absolutely loves the school. There are 4 assistant principals, myself being one of them. Each one of us is responsible for students within a alphabet range of last names. So I think the awesome part of that is that while it may exclude some of the kids that we get to know just a little bit, it's also great because if I've worked with you in your 9th grade year, I'm still going to be there in your 12th grade year to work with you. So I have last names A through E. Mr. Berry has last names F through L. Dr. Parham has last names M through R. Excuse me. And Miss Harris has last names S. Those are your 4 assistant principals and your principal.
And then for counselors, somebody was asking in the Q&A, is there a 9th grade counselor? There are some schools that do things that way, that break it out, like there's a 9th grade counselor and a 12th grade counselor and a 10th grade counselor. We do not operate that way. We operate by last name. So I am Mrs. Chilson, and I have all last names A through DAQ. Mrs. Johnson has DAR through HEL. Mrs. Vermurray has HEM through MAR. Mrs. Blunt has MAS through SAH. And Mrs. Jones has SAI through Z. We have all been on staff together for several years. I know this is my 5th year, I think, and my 14th year in total as a high school counselor. And prior to this, I worked at colleges. It's one of those things that we do it this way so that we keep the family all the way through graduation. We keep the same child or student all the way through graduation. We don't hand off at the end of the year and switch. And I kind of like it that way. I get to know the whole student. I get to see the growth. I get to see them come in as awkward 9th graders and leave as seniors, really confident with their diploma in hand, and it's a lot of fun. So just know that you will work with the counselors fairly regularly. We're very good with email. What I will say is that we don't do the handoff from 8th grade to 9th grade until August. So if there are questions about your schedule, questions about anything about recommendations or anything like that, all of that goes through your current teacher or through Ms. Sabula. So make sure to, you know, touch base with those people if anything is, you know, something that comes up. The general overview of high school, there's 7 periods in a day. One of those periods is a lunch period. Lunch could be 3rd, 4th, or 5th in your child's schedule. There is a thing called chat time at the end of 2nd period. It's kind of like a study hall, but it's also a time where students can go make up a test or get information if they were out or absent from a teacher. It's just a good catch-all period. It's not even a whole period. It's like 20 minutes at the end of 2nd period, just add it on. We do progress reports every 6 weeks. We post final grades at the end of the semester. So, you know, that's something that, you know, you got to go into Infinite Campus and check the grades on the transcript or the progress reports. Okay. This is a typical bell schedule. Bell schedules, you know, we start the day at 8:20. There's actually a first bell that rings at 8:15, and we end at 3:30. Everybody needs to be in their seat by 8:20 so they're not marked absent. This year is a little kooky with the remote learning and, you know, the absences and, you know, the changing back and forth with quarantines and all that kind of thing. So just know that this is a typical schedule of how we operate. I know that this year the bell schedule changed a little bit because of social distancing in the hallways and making sure that the car riders and the bus people don't dismiss at the same time. So we've tried to do our best. Okay, so grading. We do grading. A is a 90 to 100, a B is an 80 to 89, a C is a 70 to 79, and an F is anything below a 69, 69 and below. This is pretty much standard across the county. We do not have a D. We do add 7 additional honors points to an honors class, an AP class, or a college class. Now, 9th graders cannot take college classes, or 9th graders are not eligible to do dual enrollment. So just know that that might come later, but for like AP government or honors biology or anything like that, 7 points can get added as long as you pass the class. So if a student finishes with a 70, they will have a 77 on their transcript. Likewise, if a student finishes with like a 90, then on the transcript it will say a 97. This is a little bit different about the grading as to how middle school works and how high school works. One of the big things is in middle school, everything is averaged together. So semester 1 and semester 2 are kind of averaged together for a final grade. Semester 1 might have been a 60 in math, and then semester 2 would have been an 80 in math. And so the final grade is passing at a 70. That would not be the case for high school because every grade is independent and they're not averaged together. So in high school, every semester is on its own. So if a student made a 60 in math first semester in algebra, semester 1, and then the second semester they got an 80, then they owe me a retake of semester 1 because they cannot graduate without having a full credit of algebra 1. So we can certainly talk about options about how to make something up, but let's not even go there yet because we know everybody is going to do awesome. And we're not going to have the same struggles that we've had this year with regards to COVID and stuff. So, you know, hopefully things will get better. But yes, if you did not pass a half credit of a core class or an academic class, that is something that we would need to have made up. I see a question in the chat box about freshmen needing to calculate and worry about GPA. GPA does start 9th grade year. So 9th grade all the way through senior year is going to be your grade point average. And there's a lot of different GPAs that are calculated for different purposes. There's of course the GPA that's posted on the transcript. Fulton County uses a numeric average out of 100. So on the transcript, you know, at the end of the year, If your student did well, they might show a 92 as their numeric average, or an 83 out of their numeric average. That is a cumulative average, including electives and any middle school classes that counted for high school credit, just everything. It's the whole kit and caboodle. But when it comes to Hope Scholarship takes out electives, takes out middle school stuff, takes out the 7 points and recalculates that. There's a lot of things about Hope that are a little bit different. And then there's the college admissions GPA. If you're, trying to get into certain schools or anything like that, the GPA is going to be calculated slightly differently, and every college may calculate the GPA differently. So those are great questions for college reps. Tend to be the GPA for college and for Hope is going to be on a 4.0 scale, whereas the transcript and what we share with the colleges will be out of 100 points. So you do have to have 23 credits to graduate, 4 credits in English, 4 in math, 4 science, 3 social studies, very specific credits in all of those areas, and 3 credits in what we call a CTAE, a language, or a fine arts. CTAE tend to be our elective choices that are more technical in nature, like a marketing principles, an automotive class, a healthcare science, something like that, digital technology. All those are CTAE. We also offer languages and fine arts. We have to have 3 credits. They can be a mix and match. You can do 1 year of a fine art, 1 year of a language, 1 year of a CTAE, and you have met that category. Please note that for college admissions, you typically have to have at least 2 years of a language, sometimes more depending on the school. But if you have plans to start at a technical school or a 2-year college, languages are not required to graduate in Fulton County. You can graduate without them. So it just depends on what the end goal looks like. Every student is different in their plans. Health and personal fitness, a half credit each. I was going to say the personal fitness, you can get the waiver if you are on a varsity or a JV sport and complete a season. Same with marching band. So, but like Mr. Adele said at the end of the presentation, if you get the waiver, then it doesn't count for credit. So I still need a half credit to fill into the schedule. And then additional 4 credits of electives, and those can be in any area or anything, an extra science or an extra elective. Like, for example, AP Human Geography is a fun elective that a lot of students like to take, but it is not one of the required 3 social studies, so it would fall under electives. It is a social studies class, but it's not one of the required 3. So just know that it just depends on what's required. Okay, and for most courses, there are different placement options. There's on-level, honors, AP. It really depends on what your 8th grade teacher recommends, what you should take 9th grade year. I like to call on-level college prep. All of our classes are geared towards college prep. We do offer, of course, honors and AP classes. The vast majority of students do not hit AP curriculum until 11th grade year. You might take AP Government or AP Human Geography freshman year. That would probably be the selection, perhaps, but AP for 10th grade year usually is only AP World History, and then the vast majority of AP classes open up 11th grade year, because that's when the English opens for 11th graders. That's when students have to take chemistry before they can take any APs in the sciences. So there is a progression. Counselors are very skilled at helping make sure students are doing the right things along with their current teachers. Their current teachers know them best. They've been in the class with them. They've seen their performance, their work ethic. All of those things go into making a recommendation for what's to come. We do recommendations every year. So if you don't, this is one thing. If you don't get an honors or an AP recommendation for freshman year, do not sweat it. Come in, do your best that you can do. Transition, meet friends, get involved, find your place a little bit, find your niche. We have all kinds of clubs, all that kind of stuff. And then 10th grade year, if your performance is pretty good and you really want to ramp up in a certain area, like you're really great at English, that's fantastic. then you can jump into an honors class at that point. It is not a set path where every year you're going to be in the same exact classes or the same exact levels. I see a question about, is there a limit on how many AP classes a freshman can take? What it comes down to is that typically one AP class is all that you would really have room for in your schedule. You're either going to take, if you get the recommendation, AP American Government, AP Gov, or if not, then it would be AP Human Geography. However, you have to make sure you meet the recommended classes. So for example, if you really want to take AP Human 9th grade year and you meet the placement guidelines by the county to take that class, then I have to make room for something else. You're taking it in place of something because you still owe me government. Government's the required social studies class, not AP Human. That's an elective. So this is kind of what you want to start thinking through. Your teachers are your best people to ask about what your level or where you should be placed. But know that just because if you really want something and you don't get it, you're not counted out the next year. You can still, get to what you want to do. Typical 9th grade schedule, you've got your college prep side and you have your honors side. Students, again, they don't have to take all of one or all of the other. Please mix and match. The goal is balance. The goal is having happy children. The goal is to have joy in your house, not crying in tears in the evening because the homework is too much or they're staying up till 2 a.m. because they've got to get the reading done for that AP class. You want to make sure that you have a balanced schedule. It should not be overload. If your child has too much on their plate, or if they're into sports or they have church stuff or they're involved in, they have they help out babysitting down the street and that's kind of their part-time job. You have to take the whole picture into account. There should not be a comparison between, oh, well, my neighbor's doing this and I've got to be on this path because, they're going to have it all together. It doesn't really work that way. It's whatever's in your child's best interest is going to suit them the best, and you're going to have a better year all the way around. I see in the question, AP Gov. AP Gov is actually a full year for us. AP Comparative usually is not until senior year, so we don't offer that class up to freshmen. AP Government is a freshman level class, but it is a year-long class. I'm just trying to read through some questions quickly. It is possible for a freshman to take health or personal fitness. I don't like to call it PE. Personal fitness is the graduation requirement. There's a lot of PE classes that that are not required. So health or personal fitness, you can take it the summer before 9th grade. Usually Ms. Sabula has very certain rules as to how she'll do those approvals. It needs to go through her. As far as ASP for next year, you need to email Mr. Adele if you have questions about that. There's a specific criteria to get into those classes and there are limited spots. Usually those get decided very early. For PE, if you get a waiver due to sports, I'm just reading out questions. If you get a waiver due to sports, do you still need to do a PE class in order to get the 0.5? You don't have to do a PE. You could do a sociology later. Personal fitness for us at the high school is not until, it's not even like considered, oh my goodness, my computer's going to restart in about 15 minutes. So just so you know, I might have to hang up here. So it is one of those things that the PE, to get the 0.5 credit in high school, you can really substitute it for something else. If a student takes AP Human in 9th, can it be their elective? Yes, but they still owe a government and health to fulfill those requirements. And then I think this is pretty much where everybody picked up. That kind of covers the bulk of it. Do y'all have things that, additional questions? I'll see if I can answer. I think we've answered most of the questions. We do look forward to seeing your children next school year. I know that this has been a really weird way to do school and weird way to do parent nights and all of that, but we love helping students here at Chattahoochee. We are excited to see your children, and hopefully, you know, we were able to answer most of the questions. And this, of course, is recorded. And if you have additional questions, you can always feel free to email Ms. Sabula or your current teachers.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz. Yeah, I think that this is the place where we were at, kind of right around 6:30. So again, we really appreciate you coming out tonight. Apologize again for miscommunications about start time, but hopefully from the time you joined until now, you got everything. So we started back over and went back through it. So hopefully this has been beneficial. We are trying to figure out as many quote unquote normal ways as we can to make sure that our rising ninth graders feel like they're part of the school. Normally by now they would have come over to the school for a good chunk of their day and taken tours around and kind of got to experience the high school in all the hustle and bustle with all of our kids there. Of course, we haven't been able to do that this year, but we're working with Taylor Road and seeing if we can find some creative ways for smaller groups to be able to come on campus, or anything that we can do to make sure that your kids have the best possible transition that they can in the midst of a global pandemic that all of us are adjusting to on a daily basis. So again, thank you for your time. If you don't have any other questions, please feel free to drop off. I think we'll just hang around for a few more minutes and try to answer questions in the Q&A box. But other than that, have a great night, and thank you so much for coming and joining us.